What's up, Panthers Nation? We're back with another video today, and we're going to be discussing the Week 14 Atlanta Falcons game today, as well as a couple of other things. Firstly, Greg Olsen is out with a concussion, and that's very sad to hear. You know, I'm a huge fan of Greg, and I really do hate it for him. I hope this doesn't end his career. You know, it sucks. But I just knew that something wasn't right after that hit. I hope he can recover, and we're all thinking about him today. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's address the elephant in the room, and that is Shaq Thompson. Recently, he was signed to a 4-year extension, keeping the linebacker under contract through 2023. The article today in today's paper says that he is averaging more than 8 tackles a game. He has double-digit tackle totals in 4 games this season, including a career-high 14 in Carolina's Week 3 against Arizona. And he was also a first-round draft pick in 15. Now here is where things get complicated. I don't mind him being signed. I have zero problem with him being signed. I love the fact that he's still in Carolina, but the problem is how much. You look at, what was it, 57 or something million, and a certain amount guaranteed. You know, it's just too much. It's too much. And for the talent level that he's put out on the field, it's too much. Marty, I don't know what you're thinking, man, but we got a little bit of insight here with this article where he says, and I quote, Shaq Thompson is our type of person and our type of player. He's proven he can play linebacker at a very high level, and he's got all the traits you want. He's smart, he's physical, he can run, and he's very versatile. He is the... Let me stop right there. Yes, these things are true. Now here's where things get hairy. He fits the blueprint for what you want at the position. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, Marty. Pump the brakes. If we've seen anything out of linebacker position, Thomas Davis is the bar we should be aiming for. Not Shaq Thompson. You watch how many games Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly together were setting the bar, and how they did it. Those guys are your blueprint. Not Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson's great. He's great. Don't get me wrong. He's great. He learned under Shaq. He learned under Luke Kuechly. He learned under Thomas Davis. And the numbers look fantastic, but here's my issues with him. He can't cover the bright side of a barn, number one. Number two, he takes plays off every once in a while. And, you know, he occasionally has trouble recognizing some of the plays. So I venture to say, like, for the most part, he is smart. He is capable of learning all this stuff. But I think part of the taking plays off was partially due to the lack of productivity that was surrounding the whole team And that came from the laziness that started with Ron Rivera. But today, we have a chance to correct that. We have a chance to fix that issue today and start building our new culture in Carolina. And it starts with our new interim coach, Perry Fuel, setting the tone today. What is our team going to look like in the future with him as coach? Today is a very, very, very real idea of what it's going to look like. Now, we've got 4 games left this year. We either try to win them all or we tank them all. There's 2 choices there. You can't have both. You can't have both because that puts us right in the middle of the draft order again. So you got to pick one or the other. Which one are you going to choose, Coach? This is your chance to put a stamp on this team and say, this is the plan for the future for rebuilding, or this is the plan and we're going to attempt to win these last 4 games and hope to absolutely everything that we can get these 4 games won. But I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I recommend tank the last 4. Let's just sit on 5 wins. That should put us between top 10 and top 15, which is a good position to be in. I think we can get some real good picks with that 5-win season. But the choice is up to you, Coach. You know, we're not mathematically eliminated yet. But if we lose this game, we are. So it's your choice, Coach. What would you like to do? And, you know, if you would like to stay as head coach on this team, that decision is going to make or break your future in Carolina as head coach. So choose wisely. As far as I'm concerned, if you tank the last 4, I will recommend you as coach. You will be on the list of my recommendations. If you choose to try to go for these 4 wins, we'll see how you approach these games and how you manage them. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to be watching this coach very carefully. I'm going to see how he does. And if we get what we want out of this, maybe we could push for those last 3. But, you know, there's no guarantee. You know, at best, we're probably looking at 8-8 if we try for it. And that's if we get lucky and win 2. But, you know, the Saints game being one of them. But 8-8 does not get us a good draft pick. That sits us right where we were before. Right at number 15. Right in the middle of the pack. Right where we can't get to the best players available to fill our needs. And I don't like that. The draft starts in April. We got a lot of preparation to start working. And the spot for today's game is Atlanta by 3. So, I get the feeling that's home field advantage. Honestly. You know, Atlanta's out of the playoffs, obviously. Even if they beat us, they're still mathematically out. You know, Baltimore's going to be winning today. Green Bay's going to beat Washington. I think Houston over Denver. The Saints and 49ers game will be interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Cleveland's going to beat Cincinnati. Minnesota's going to beat Detroit. The Jets will probably get their next win. Tampa Bay will have that close game with Indy. And we'll see how that plays out. That'll be our scouting game right there. Let's see how that plays out. We'll get a good look at the Colts. We'll see what we're dealing with in December. In late December. Chargers in Jacksonville. I think Chargers. Pats and KC. Now that's an interesting one. That's the one everyone's going to be paying attention to. Because New England just lost that game last week. And lost their number 1 seed. That helps everybody in the league. I mention that specifically because we are so tired of seeing New England get that home field advantage throughout the playoffs every single freaking year. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts, and I know it drives everybody else nuts that are not Patriots fans. So, Pittsburgh is trying to come out of the ashes here. Tepper said he's interested in their GM, and there was an article on ESPN that I just read right before I started recording, and Tepper said he's interested in. I forget the names offhand, but I'll link the article below in the pin post in the description of Tepper's thoughts on this. I would personally like to see that, and I hope Marty isn't the problem as well as Ron. I think Ron was the main source of our problems, but Marty may be a small smidgen of the problems as well. We know Norv is a big chunk of it, and his son. So we'll see what happens there. Let's let these last 4 games play out. Let's see what happens. Then we'll start moving the pieces around and see, who we want to get in, who we don't, what head coach we're going to have, and contracts. Personally, I'd like to see the head coaching job get fixed before we start re-signing people. I wasn't real thrilled that we went ahead and re-signed Shaq early. I don't think that was a smart move. I would like to see the new head coach decide what he wants to do once we get him signed, whoever that may be. And then decide on what we want to do with these players, because it's way too early for a re-signing period to begin. We can re-sign these contracts, we can extend people, but is it wise? And that's my question I pose to everybody. Is that a wise idea this early? Because I'm sure there's a good handful on that list that we're still going to be looking at here coming into the offseason. So I don't believe that's a wise plan this early. Especially not for that much money that we offered Shaq, because that takes money away from everybody else that we're going to need to re-sign people with. And we also need a rookie reserve as well. So, I don't know what this management's thinking right now, and right now I'm not thrilled. So, let's just see what happens. Keep pounding. Let's see what happens today. Good luck, Coach Fuel. You'll need it.